Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We are also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com/NewHavenIndependent or go to your Facebook page and look us up. And always hit see first so you can get the great shows that we have here on WNHH and the New Haven Independent right first in your timeline there on Facebook. So a lot of good shows going on. Joe Ugly, Harry the Brave. We got the mayor on here. A lot of good, great shows on New Haven Independent. So today, Uncle Lou will not be joining us today, but that's okay. We got Kebra Smith-Bolden here. But Uncle Lou is on his way to Portland, Maine, I believe.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yep. So a lot of things going on. There was the Hemp Expo this weekend, which was very good. I had a really good time. We missed you there, Kebra.
Yes, I didn't I thought it was Sunday.
I know, because they had the last one on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know why I had that in my mind. So it was totally my fault. I jacked that up.
It was good. Ellen was there. Dr. Uma was there. And, quite a few people from all over. Nelson Guerrero came down.
Nice.
Ashley came down from Washington.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a good time. Very educational, very informative.
I saw Ellen.
Yeah, you saw the videos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Go-Go Joe's was down there with, we had a booth down there. It was nice.
Nice.
So we were promoting the Ricky D's barbecue sauce and Flower Power Coffee, who will be calling in today, as a matter of fact, a little bit later. But there's a little bit going on in the world of cannabis. First thing I wanted to cover was that this Friday, there's a very important talk in Hartford going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is presented by CURE and the Commission on Equity, the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, and the Yukon Students Against Mass Incarceration. And they are doing a forum on the socioeconomic health and equity impacts of the legalization of marijuana. Now, this is very important because it is a presentation for legislators, right? So this is for the legislators to come and learn and understand what equity really is about in the cannabis industry, because obviously they don't know. But
it is open to the public.
Right. Well, this is what I'm getting at. We want support in the audience.
Absolutely. We need you there.
As many people as possible.
Yes.
So the speakers are going to be Chanel Lindsay of Ardent.
Love her.
And she's also on the Massachusetts Cannabis Advisory Board.
She created that awesome decarboxylator.
Yes, from Ardent. That's right. Sharita Perry from the president.
Shanita Penny.
Oh, Shanita Penny. See, I can't read today. I am seeing double.
Oh, no.
Well, the print is very small.
Oh, okay.
President of the Minority Cannabis Business Association. So she's president of MCBA.
Yes.
And then the CURE Connecticut president, Kebra Smith-Bolden.
I think we know that.
Yes. And a keynote from, this is very important, the Massachusetts Cannabis Commissioner, Shailene Title.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So Shailene, for those who don't know, has really been a pioneer in the equity as far as the forefront in fighting for equity in the Massachusetts cannabis industry. I think without her and without Chanel, there probably would have been a whole different set of laws up there.
They actually participated in crafting the law that now exists.
Exactly
for
right.
equity in cannabis in Massachusetts. So, to be able to, I really wish this could get important to people.
Right. And they need to understand what equity is really about. It affects everybody.
Exactly. Like, this is not like something that we should just allow to pass us by.
Right.
Like, this is just like the opportunities are endless, and the only way that we will get people to do something different than what they have planned, which is to make this a corporate industry,
Right.
is for us to tell them what we will not negotiate about
Right.
at this point.
Yeah, it's
in numbers, because little old me, I could try to take out as many people as I can. But little old me fighting by myself, windmilling,
no,
that's not going to work.
no.
Like, we need numbers. We need people who
Just
are
show up.
Yeah, and to be be willing to say, if you don't do it this way, you cannot do this at all.
Right.
Like, we are your constituents. We put you in office, and we will take you out. Like,
Right.
if you don't start representing our
Right.
issues and what we want as the people who have elected you.
Right. And this is what I think people need to understand. Equity includes everybody. It affects everybody
Right.
of lower and middle income,
Right.
because these are the people who are going to be, and felons, people who have ever been incarcerated,
Mhm.
are all getting shut out of the industry if we allow a corporate takeover to happen.
Right.
It's about allowing for small businesses. It's allowing for
Yeah.
businesses to operate in the communities that have been mostly affected by the war on drugs.
Absolutely.
It's just about an equal dispersion of the industry and not having all of it in one control, one group of people, no monopoly, basically.
Mhm.
And it's been done in other states. There's no reason it can't be done in Connecticut.
Right. And creating micro businesses and
Right.
small businesses and incubating people and having people think about business in a whole different kind of way, and entrepreneurship, and reinvesting in communities.
Right.
Like, all of the things that cannabis can do, the social, bringing people together, like the ability, all this stuff.
Yeah, they just don't see the vision like we do, unfortunately.
I don't know.
They're stuck in the 1930s and 1970s prohibitionist mentality where weed is bad and it's going to destroy society, and how can we put it in communities already affected by the war on drugs? Is just going to make, affect them even worse. This is their mentality when they don't realize that entrepreneurship and business is what uplifts a community, and not just companies coming in and just taking money.
And I'm sorry, but consumers of this plant understand that even all the more. So,
Right.
Instead of, like, I had someone say to me one day, I don't, I'm fine with the medical and even the recreational use, but I don't like it when I see people just, high and doped up all day and this, that, and the third. And I said, but then you got to think about, especially you're talking about, because they were talking about inner city, people. And I'm like, you got to think about what they're doing, though. They are medicating themselves.
Right.
And this is what I just keep trying to understand. Yeah, they might be doped up because they saw their mother die. They their
They got
father
shot
OD.
at, right.
They got shot. They've been to jail. Like, you can't live with some images like that and be clear-minded.
Be normal, right?
Yeah, you can't do that. You need this. So it just is a matter of changing the perception of what cannabis is and how people are used. Yes, there are people who misuse cannabis.
Sure.
Of course.
People who misuse cigarettes. There's people who misuse caffeine.
Yes.
So, it happens.
Yes. But who are you to look down your nose at anybody? You don't know what the reason is, what the rationale is, what they've gone through on a daily basis. But regardless, we're not talking about consuming.
Right.
I don't think we ever have had a whole show about how we get high, the different ways, all
Right.
the
No,
stuff.
none
Like,
of
we
us.
don't talk what was fire and what we don't talk about that. We're talking about businesses. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about education.
Social issues.
We're talking about social issues.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but not one time did cannabis ever kill anybody.
Nope.
Not one time. This evil drug never killed anybody. And not one time was this ever prohibited because of all of the health concerns.
Right.
Cannabis was not
the reason.
prohibited because of the babies or the car accidents
No.
or there were no cars, like all this stuff. So when you really think about it, like everything that people are even saying they are concerned about where did this come from? You conjured this up during Prohibition to continue its prohibition.
It's all theories. It's all theories. The gateway is a theory.
Yeah,
you know why?
Stupid
Anything that came before legalization is a theory because then nobody could ever do any research on it.
Right.
So how can you get any proven facts behind these statements that you're blatantly making without scientific proven fact behind it? And now, since legalization in 2012 of a few states, now we have been able to do studies, real life studies, real time studies. And what are they finding out? All those theories and BS that they've been spouting over the last 50, 60 years are wrong. All wrong. Anecdotal. And none of them have been able to be scientifically proven. The teen use jumping up. Nope. Wrong. It doesn't happen. The gateway drug theory. Totally debunked. Showing that alcohol is the gateway drug.
And cannabis is actually the exit drug from opioid addiction, alcohol addiction, every other kind of addiction that there is. It can be used for that nature. So it's not so now it's not a gateway drug, it's an exit drug. Right.
And so now this is all in print, all able to see. Why is it so hard for a legislator to get on the internet and on Google and say teen use increased in states where legalization has happened? Boom. And they will see the latest study right in front of their face. You know, that's all they have to do is take a few minutes out of their night and get on and find out what's really going on and stop listening to these prohibitionists and these lobbyists and that's a whole nother set of lies that they're saying, and really get out there and find out the facts for yourself. What happened to thinking for yourself?
Right. And I just wonder if these lobbyists for the growers are actually putting out this absolutely false information sometimes, because I could see them like wanting to feed the lack of, well, I mean, I guess if legalization happened, they just want to make sure it doesn't get into the hands of the people. So I'm just wondering if that's what it is that they're doing.
In New York, you know that the big growers, the corporate growers, are trying to get control also in New York.
Right.
And they put out a whole thing why home grow shouldn't happen. And they had 5 reasons. I wish I brought it with me. They have 5 reasons why home grow shouldn't happen. And their lobbyists are now lobbying the New York legislators to take home grow out of the bill. And it's all prohibitionist thinking. Now, these are growers saying this.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, and they have it. They have a 5-point thing that they say why home grow shouldn't be allowed. And really it's saying the same thing in different words. It's really strange how they word it. And what I'll do, I'll bring it in next week because it's very interesting what they're trying in New York. And I would imagine that the lobbyists here are feeding the same sort of information to the legislators here because they do not want home grow.
Yeah.
That's one thing they want stricken from the bill is home grow.
And they want to offer people of color and people from community. No, not jobs. Internships.
Oh, isn't oh, that's even better.
It'd be one thing if it was a job. I mean, maybe, but that still wouldn't be good enough. But like, they're offering internships. Like,
well, I was reading somewhere in Massachusetts somebody's experience in the dispensary industry in Massachusetts, and they basically said that most of the jobs for younger people of color, go to trimmers and filling up the containers, the $12 an hour jobs. Anybody, the cultivation room, they said, and female too, basically, male dominated, white male dominated, the cultivation room, you don't get near that. So what they're offering is just jobs, jobs. And that's nice. I think it's great that they're creating jobs. But we've been getting breadcrumb jobs for years.
Yeah, and I want to create my own jobs. And hire my own people and treat them the way that I want to treat,
that's
in a good way.
That's what's more
in
important.
A positive way.
And not give a man a fish.
Yeah.
Teach him how to fish.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom line. That's the mentality of it. Here's a fish.
Okay, and fish or people, y'all got to go after this too.
Yeah.
Because that's the other side of this. We're still up in the Capitol alone.
Right.
We're still the only ones really talking about
they're seeing all the time.
Yeah, and I get inbox every single day about people wanting to be in the industry, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, and
guess
you can
where
ask
you start.
any one of them what I tell them. well, then you need to be up in the Capitol with me so you could lobby for what you want.
Start with activism. There is no industry unless we make sure there is an industry, and the industry we get is a fair and equitable one.
Exactly.
That satisfies all of us in Connecticut.
Exactly.
Because look, we've lived here, we've grown up in this state. We know the mentality of the people up there, but it's time to change. It is time to change.
And the thing about it is, I know like a couple of people are like, yeah, but I work and I don't have. Okay.
Write
but,
a testimony.
Like, you know how many times I had to miss work or couldn't work because of doing what I believe in, what I ultimately want? Like, it takes a little bit of sacrifice, people. Nobody. Hey, it's Biggie's birthday. Or no, his passing day. I'm sorry,
that's
I got
right.
that wrong. But anyway, it's just like you have to take advantage of this opportunity. You have to make your voice heard. You have to go and speak to the legislators, and you need to be able to articulate what it is that you want.
I think our caller's in. Okay,
nice and early. So anyway, we definitely. And you need
I'm getting feedback again. Are you? All right.
But let me just finish my sentence. We have to come up to Hartford and get this done. So this forum is when?
The forum is the 15th. This Friday, 1 o'clock, room 2A at the LOB. And
we need you guys to come and support this.
Yes, very, very important.
So please make sure you come. We're going to talk about it after we get off the phone with
Lathan Knowles.
Hey, Lathan.
How we doing, guys? I just thought I'd call in early and just listen in the background. I posted a link to my Facebook page as well, so I'm going to share it to the Flower Power page now for you guys as well, so everyone can listen in through their laptop or whatever device they have.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Lathan. For those of you who don't know, Lathan Knowles is the CEO and the head chef of Flower Power Coffee, but that is not the only thing he's involved in, and I think I'd rather let you tell the people about yourself and what you've got going on with Flower Power Coffee, but everything else you've got going on in the industry, Lathan. And for those of you who don't know, Lathan is the gentleman who actually helped me get Go-Go Joe's up off the ground by putting together a white label deal for me for the coffee, and I am forever grateful to him. And there you go.
Thank
Lathan.
you, Joe. Thank you. That's a pretty good intro. Yeah. For those listening and who don't know who I am or heard my name before and want to know more, my journey didn't actually start in cannabis itself. I'm a chef of almost 14 years, self-taught by my grandmother, never done any of the colleges or anything else. And my culinary journey eventually led me to come to the States. That's the easiest way without going into too much of my personal life. Came over to work with such chefs from Food Network and Hell's Kitchen and those kind of background. And from there, went down to Texas to open up a restaurant where I took chefs from all walks of life and trained them and showed them, the education behind the food that they was making. That's kind of what I've always done, throughout my career and my life, is try and educate and help people. And it eventually ended up with me coming to New Hampshire. So I left the restaurant in Texas. I opened it up, which is what I was hired to do. And I eventually ended up going up to New Hampshire, where I went to the Freedom Fest, which Rick Naya was putting on. And it was my first real cannabis festival, so to speak. I'd been to a lot of underground events and things. This is my first public. And it was like, oh, we got to legalize this plant. We got to do something about this. And I'd been listening to a lot of shows and things in the UK. Me and you have had talks about this off air, Joe, listening to yourself. With the Boston on the radio stuff, the Boston Pot Report with Cara Crab Burnham, and you've got yourself and Louie and all these things. So I was hearing all this before even looking into cannabis. So I eventually started looking into it a lot more after this festival, and realized that as a chef I could infuse flavors and really learn more about this plant. So I went to live on a cannabis farm. Took about four months out of the kitchen. Where I was the head chef at the Orchard Street Chop Shop in Dover, New Hampshire. And I went and lived on a cannabis farm for a while. And I was learning, my job was to get up in the morning, move plants around, feed them, water them. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. And I realized exactly how much hard work goes into an actual, a real farm.
Right.
And wanted to know more how I can, learn more about getting this information to people, but also how smoking cannabis was helping me. And I realized that there's a lot more to this plant than just getting me high. You know,
Right.
I came from England where we don't really know much about cannabis. Growing cannabis, you're put in prison for 10 years. Things are changing now, but, you know, this is my mentality of where I was coming from. So I moved to New York City, and I, you know, as a chef, started just doing things quietly and decided that I should do a public CBD dinner.
Nice.
And I was watching Prohibition. I was watching Boardwalk Empire at the time. It was all about the
That was a good
Prohibition
show.
era. And everything that I'd been reading about the Prohibition era, you know, and everything that I'd been looking at in the cannabis, you know, cannabis history was something that I really felt strongly about, and I wanted to do something. So I spoke to a lot of my chef friends, and I told them my idea, and I decided to do it. So I hosted a secret dinner called Prohibition.
Oh,
The idea
cool.
was that people saw the event online through Eventbrite. I contacted local media. I contacted the police. I contacted newspapers. The article and story was picked up by Eater and Secret, and you know it got a lot of press. And the event went off. It was an infused dinner, 70 people. And the success of that dinner led to Dr. Craig Levant reaching out to me, who you've met yourself, Joe, and,
Right.
you know, helped you through the process of getting your product launched.
Dr. Craig. I love Dr.
And
Craig.
yeah, so Dr. Levant, Doctor of Pharmacology, he's 20 years botanist. His information can be found on our website for anyone who, you know, is trying to understand my interest in American English accent. So flowerpower.coffee is where people can read up all about, you know, what I'm explaining right now. So Dr. Levant contacted me, and eventually we realized that instead of doing a restaurant themed kind of business, which I wanted to do pop-up dinners and infused foods all the time, you know, long story short is we all decided coffee would be the best alternative. Benefits of it as a chef, you know, the caffeine levels, it can be incorporated into almost anything. It can be incorporated into your daily life because everyone drinks coffee near enough, right, Joe?
Right. That's so true.
And you know, back 2 years ago, it was a case of, okay, let's do this. It's not being done really on a massive scale. Let's go. So we decided to form Flower Power Coffee Company in August 2017. We went live with our first public sale on our website on the 27th of September 2017, where we also did a little trading show. And then where we really went public as our first show was the NECAM, which is the New England Cannabis Convention. And that's where it was Portland, Maine. And we turned up and we had our products and we showed people, hey, this is who we are. We're Flower Power Coffee Company. We're the power behind the flower. We infuse straight to that bean, you know, and then from there we educate. And that's the main thing that I've tried to do for this almost 2 years. And as CBD has become more and more prominent in everyone's lives, there are become so many other ways to infuse and to bring it about. But I feel coffee in the morning is one of the best methods. You know, small microdoses just gets you enough for your day. If you do medicate, then you can top it up with some nice medication. But yeah, that's kind of the story behind Flower Power. And I mean, we've now grown where we now manufacture in England. Still mom and pop company, you know, still small roots. And we manufacture in the UK now, and we ship to all throughout the US. We ship in Europe itself. We white label and manufacture for a company in Poland called Magical Realm. So now Poland has a CBD coffee.
Nice.
And we work with smaller people who, such as yourself, Joe, who was like, hey, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. You know, I want to name it after my mother. And we discussed with you. And, you know, within, I think it was 9 weeks, we managed to get you
up and running.
A product almost ready to go.
Yeah, pretty much. I met you at NECAN in Rhode Island, and we had it up and running within two months. 2 months. Yeah, pretty much.
We have
Beautiful.
Doctor of Pharmacology, myself, who's a chef, Terry Bouvier, who's our Vice President of Corporate Strategy, who, 500 Ford companies, those kind of companies are who he works for right now. He's a private contractor for several large names as well. So, there's a nice team behind us, and all we want to do is, ensure that people understand that we are a small company. We do try and work with the right kind of people, and advocacy and education is one of the main things that we really are behind. We sponsor a lot of events that we can. We try and help as much in the community as we can, and as a chef myself, I help people who have a project bring it to fruition.
Right. Yeah, no, excellent. I understand now recently you've been working with Metallica, Dave Elferson? Megadeth. Apologize on that.
Megadeth. It's all right. We did have the call yesterday, and but yeah, it's fine, Joe. Yeah, Megadeth. So one of the things since starting Flower Power Coffee Company, we managed to secure a couple of companies, one of which was Baristas, and they'll lead up to the Megadeth from that. And Baristas Coffee Company out of Seattle, they now have an enricher roast. Same kind of idea that we did with you, Joe.
Right.
Apart from what they're doing is they actually advertised at the Super Bowl. They're advertising at all NASCAR events, all 61 NASCAR events. They also advertised at the Grammys, so there's the first CBD commercial at the Grammys, first CBD commercial at NASCAR, first CBD commercial at the NBA TV companies. So that's Baristas, and from Baristas came our next partnership, which is with Ellison Coffee Company, which is Dave Ellison, the bassist for Megadeth.
Right.
Now, he already had a coffee company. He has several amazing coffees on there, and he approached us and was like, I like your Jamaican Blue Mountain. I like what you do with it. Let's talk. And, that's literally it. It was a friend of ours in the industry who put us in touch, and we kept the communications going. Terry Bouvier, Vice President Corporate Strategy, met with them, went down, was in the green room, gave them coffee, and now within 2 months, we've launched his CBD-infused Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. Ellison Coffee Co., who is the bassist for Megadeth, and it will be going on the tour, and we'll be taking it all around Europe right now. And there is a pre-order. First 100 bags gets a signed copy from him. That's all through the website. So it's a fun time to be in. It really is. It's very interesting for me to kind of be sat here and looking at it and going like, how's it growing and where's it going to go?
And and one of the things we were talking about prior to you coming on was about how the growers are willing to create jobs, and they're pretty much dead-end jobs where people can't grow. But that's the difference between people who really are in this industry for the right reasons, that are advocates because they create opportunities.
Right.
There's a difference between jobs are great. they keep people together, but creating opportunities for people to be entrepreneurs, to follow their dreams, to name a company after their mom, that kind of thing is what's really important. So I salute you for being a part of that process.
Thank you. I mean, Joe will tell you, and anyone in this industry will tell you, and you probably speak to people all the time. Starting a company is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
and especially keeping a company going in the cannabis industry, because like you just said, education, finding people who are like, hey, I want to do this, and you're like, oh, awesome, and then you find out that okay, well, what you want to do this for is the completely wrong reason.
Right.
And,
right.
You either need to sit down and reevaluate, or really think about things properly, because it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you want to build something around educating, like Joe does as well, I mean, you've got your shop opening soon.
Yep.
It's long, hard, strenuous, tiring hours. But you know what? When you get a phone call from someone or an email from someone saying, hey, I feel amazing, thank you very much.
Right.
Amtrak, dude, I won't even go into that on the air, but some people I met on the Amtrak train, they messaged me recently and said, hey, Thank you for the coffee. I feel amazing. I'm not in any pain. How can I sell it? And like, it helps so many people.
Yeah.
Yes,
It really does.
And
But it is tiring, and I'm not gonna. Anyone out there who thinks it's easy, it's really not.
Oh no.
It's
If
not
you have a
easy.
product and you have an idea and you have a vision, then go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't do it for
You
the
know,
money.
there's people out there that will help.
Yeah,
That's
this
right.
industry changes so often,
Mm-hmm.
and that it gets like it's hard to keep up with it, and you have to be like you have to constantly innovate, and you have to be keeping up with regulations and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's difficult because we really are building an industry that hasn't existed in the past.
Right.
You know, we're not
Yeah.
selling pens and pencils here. We're selling something new, something that, you know, it's strenuous and it's difficult. And as you know, there are things along the way that wouldn't happen to the normal person who was like selling candles or something. You get payment providers who shut you down. You get
You get phone calls at 2 a.m. saying something's going to be taken off a shelf, or
Right.
yeah, you're right.
Yes.
And payment processing being shut down is one thing that we know of, right, Joe?
Right. Yes, that happens. And Facebook not allowing you to advertise, even though it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's these things that all these obstacles we have to overcome, and yet still we're still around. You know what I mean? We're still going, we're still kicking because we know that this industry and what it means to the public, what it means to humanity, you know, to get this plant legalized and back to where it should have been before all this probation.
But you're right, it's not for the faint.
Not for the faint of heart. That is for sure.
Not at all.
It is
You gotta
not.
be ready for what's gonna come and the opposite. You know, the surprise. Like, I'm so surprised sometimes by people who are like, "Oh no, that is," you know, and I'm like, "Really? You still feel that way?"
Yeah.
Okay, let me move far away from you.
Yeah. No, it's very, very true.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, okay, I better reevaluate that one a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so tell us a little bit about how we can get in touch with you, how people can get your coffee. By the way, Flower Power Coffee will be available at the new Go-Go Joe's.
I know
that is opening up in Milford along with the new Can of Health.
Yes.
We're going to be opening up
excited.
at the same time.
Yes.
So Kebra and I are going to have a little venture going on in Milford now. And we are going to actually be serving it, serving the CBD coffee and selling it down there as well as some other CBD treats. So we're very happy to announce.
I'm sat in my chair wobbling in excitement. This is dope.
Yes.
This is great.
Yep, because you can sip on your coffee while you wait to get your medical marijuana evaluation.
That's right.
You know, so it'll be great.
No, it's going to be awesome. And it's the first of its kind here in our area. Not very many people are selling CBD coffee. I really only have heard of one other place. So it's great, and that's another place that you work with anyway. So
I know. That's something that I went to a Seed to Sale show, you know, and it was eye-opening experience to see so many people who I look up to in this industry and respect coming up and going, "Hey, I have your coffee." Hey, and it's like, whoa, you know, it's pretty interesting how far cannabis can really take you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you've got the right attitude behind it, and you know that education is needed, like, you know, how difficult was it to go to Connecticut and say, okay, we're going to open these companies, we're going to open these stores? I mean, you probably got a lot of feedback, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. We got a lot of prohibitionists here in Connecticut. This is the land of steady habits. We're lucky to be in a town that hosts 2 dispensaries, and they are very much a cannabis-friendly town, as well as New Haven is also a cannabis-friendly town. But there are many places in Connecticut that are not allowing it at all. So yeah, we still have a very much prohibitional attitude here.
I love it though. But yeah, to answer the question before, because you know we digressed. The website is flowerpower.coffee.
Okay.
If people wanted to set up any kind of wholesale accounts, or they, like yourself, decide, you know what, I'd like to follow my dreams and go with a product, and you know they want to know where the product comes from, they want to know the testing, all that is provided. We have QR codes now on all of our bags, which means that you just hold your smartphone up to it and you will immediately get sent the most recent lab results from what is in that bag.
Oh, great.
That's so super cool.
So that's something that we're also offering on your products as well, Joe. As we discussed, we're working on your new redesign.
Yeah.
You know, we've gone up to a 2-ounce bag, which is wonderful. Instagram is Flower Power Coffee Co., all one word. I'll put it all up on the Facebook site as well, which is Flower Power Coffee Co.
Great.
You know, there is also the other sites that we have is Flower Power Coffee Co. Global.
Okay.
Flower Power Coffee Co. Texas. These are all Facebook because, as you know, advertising is really difficult. So I try and interact with people in that area and try and bring the educational more, you know, around them instead of, hey, you don't want to hear what's going on in the U.S. You want to hear what's going on around you.
Right.
So Texas, especially being a state that is just changing and going through a lot of issues right now, we have Flower Power Coffee Co. Texas set up for people down there who want to know what's going on.
Great.
And then for anyone who, you know, is listening on Facebook or online and they're from the UK because they follow my pages, Flower Power Coffee Co. UK is the UK side of things because we have 4 different flavors manufactured completely differently because the UK has different regulations. They call it a novel food. So that has to be a completely different page separate because of wordings, what you can and can't say in the UK. So yeah, we try and bring it as educational to people as possible, but also make sure that they get the right product.
Right, right. And we will see you at NECAN as well?
Oh, yeah.
On the 23rd?
134. We're being joined by Lock and Key Remedies from New York City.
Hey.
Oleg Marieses. So, yeah, Oleg and Andre are coming up. It's going to be a big party. I love NECAN. It's just a big party where we all talk about what's happening in the industry, all how we can kind of get together and help each other overcome the FDA and overcome the Joe Blogs who's bashing down your back door right now, you know?
Right, right.
I love NECAN. I love it. I love the family side of it. It's great.
Yeah, it's always like a reunion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's more about for me is just seeing people I know. And
well, my booth's open, so you guys come hang around the back, take some pictures, drink all the coffee you want. You know how it goes down, right?
Yeah, and you were nominated for an award, right?
Was your company nominated, Nathan?
We'll go over that on Facebook.
Okay.
I'll be announcing what we've been nominated for on Flower Power Coffee Company very, very shortly.
Okay. Okay.
But we'll see you at the award show at NECAN, right?
I will be at the award ceremony in NECAN.
Right.
I wasn't nominated for any of the NECAN ones, but there are a couple of people that have been. There are a couple of nice independent small growers up there as well who I did put my vote towards.
I know that's
right. Okay. Well, Kebra and I are both on the ballot.
Did.
We're
I know.
It
was good.
You can vote for Joe and vote for me.
Yeah, vote for both of us.
Well, I was sat in the crowd, you know, the NCAA listening in, and I already put all my votes in back then. I can't wait just to go and see who wins and see how it changes again.
It's gonna be exciting.
It's the first one ever.
2019 is going to be amazing after 419. Once the U.S. patent runs out, I think it's going to be an interesting industry to see expand.
That's right.
Oh, we need to talk about that.
We will chat about that. All right, Lathan, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Flower Power Coffee.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to be listening in.
My favorite
I really enjoyed
is the
this call.
Jamaican blend.
Loved it. And yeah, you guys have a great afternoon.
All right, you too.
Thank you, Lathan.
All right. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great guy.
Yeah, my favorite is the Jamaican.
Yeah.
What is it called? Jamaican
Blue Mountain. Yeah.
Jamaican Blue Mountain. Oh my God, y'all! You gotta try that coffee.
No,
I'll bring. What's your website?
GoGoJoes.com. Yeah.
GoGoJoes.com. Get Jamaican
Blue Mountain, and then soon you'll be able to drink it right by the cup.
Yes.
Right in Milford. That's March 20th, right?
Yeah, that's right around the corner.
Coming up like a week and a half. So. One thing I wanted to chat about real quick is I'm our good friend Jason Ortiz over at the Minority Cannabis Business Association. They made a big announcement today that they have announced their MCBA model ordinance for cannabis legalization, which basically includes, you know, a lot of it's basically meant to level the playing field. So it basically says the licensing structure prioritizes folks who have been impacted by the war on drugs for ownership. These people are often left behind if included at all, and we want to put them out at the front of the line. So, you know, basically, for those, you know, who don't know, that 80% of the legal cannabis industry is owned by white businessmen, basically. You know, a lot of that's corporate.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know what you consider corporations. I know they're people, but, you know, I don't know. I'm sure most of the board is white, but I don't know if they actually have a race. But either way, corporate or, you know, basically rich, really. We should just put rich in there. So, you know, this is important. Again, this is something we talked about, and the MCBA model is very, very detailed. It goes in depth. It's 22 pages long, and I didn't have enough ink to print it. So what I want to do is next week, I would like to have Jason Ortiz come on and explain to us, you know, not line by line, that would be on here forever, but the important key parts of the bill, because it does include quite a bit in there. You know, let's see if I can. The model owner specifically provides priority licensing, access to capital, and technical assistance for confirmed equity applicants, as well as general applicants incubating a cannabis business owned by an equity applicant, which is what you were talking about, applicant. The model ordinance also recommends social impact studies by adopting municipalities to calculate the total cost of the war on drugs on our communities and to better inform community reinvestment decisions. So that's smart. So let's figure out how much it actually cost us and what areas we're really like, not just say, oh, let's help the community. Let's define it.
Yeah, but no.
Let's put numbers to it.
My husband was like, this is just a quote, but like, my husband was in jail for 5 years for cannabis. He lost X amount of income that affected my family in X amount of way.
It costed the state how much to keep him in there.
Well, I don't care what it costs.
Well,
the state.
it's just we put more money.
But I'm talking about what comes out of the community.
Person, yeah.
The person's out of the community. His income is out of the community. His family is without him. Like all that should all.
Yeah,
if
business
you put a
is
number
closed.
on it.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That number is crazy, and that's the way they should be looking at it.
And that's how you look at it.
My children were taken from me because I was a cannabis consumer, because I had trauma in my life, and you took my kids away. That cost me, you know, jobs,
a lot of money. Yeah,
kids, psychological counseling.
Basically, costs you a piece of your life.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Yeah,
that's what it costs you, a piece of your life.
And at this point, we got to break it down like that, because I just think people are just kind of
you can't generalize anymore.
Yeah, and they're just dismissing like what is a tragedy. You know, how do you dismiss a tragedy? If this was, you know, like people in the of the Jewish faith and from the Jewish, they will never forget the Holocaust.
Right.
Ever, never.
Right.
And God forbid, like, I feel I don't even want to talk about it, because I know they respect it and revere that so much that, like, you got to be careful what you say.
Yeah, and I don't even speak of it.
You know, but I'm just using it as an example, because we have to feel that same way about what happened to us.
Absolutely right.
We
absolutely.
We have to be like, never forget, and remind people. It wasn't a gas chamber, but you threw us behind bars for medicine. For medicine.
Right.
Like, you know, it wasn't all of the things. Come on now.
Yeah. Come on. You can't forget. You can't forget anything that's been done, really, from the start. Let's be real. From the beginning.
Yes, absolutely, the beginning.
As far, you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, what happened at the beginning is just, I don't want to even include it, compare it to anything else, but it's terrible.
But you almost have to get people to understand the depth and the gravity of what has happened.
It was like an invasion.
Exactly. I'm telling you, the war on drugs. I was just at a little day party. You know, I love my day parties, but I see all my other 30s to 40-year-old friends that I grew up with, and we just got to talking. Actually, no, this was at my friend's party, but we started talking about, like, I remember the first one of my peers that was murdered, shot and killed.
Right.
His name was Sebastian. I'll never forget. And when Sebastian was killed, I was devastated. Like, I couldn't, we went to preschool together. But then from there, it was another one and 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 another one. And I could keep saying another one.
Right.
You know, and how dare anybody try to dismiss. I'm fully functional. I smile. I'm happy. I'm not saying anything, but you can't dismiss my trauma and how it comes forth in me. You know what I'm saying? You can't pretend like what I experienced is insignificant, or that it was done to we brought it on ourselves, or whatever that is that you're
If
saying. I had nothing to do
Right.
with that. It happened
Nothing.
to me.
It just happened to you. And if you really look at it, and in history, when did the decline in, you know what I mean, in those neighborhoods start to happen? With the war on drugs, correct?
Exactly.
Look back to the 50s. It was 50s compared to the, you know what I mean, total.
When Nixon got his
right. The
foot in
war
it.
on drugs created this problem.
Yes.
So it's time for it's like when you have a war, right? It's like prisoners of war get released. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but you know what I'm saying? And it's time to release the prisoners after the war is over.
Exactly.
The war is almost over, folks. Get ready. Get ready to start releasing the prisoners.
And you cannot, like, forget the fact that how you treated the difference between, you know, the crack era and how you treated our communities that were suffering from addiction to crack cocaine, that you put in our communities, but that's a whole nother story. But you know, now we come to the opioid crisis, and it's a health crisis, and everybody wants to be so concerned about, you know, and it's, people are dying.
But in the 70s, what was it?
It was
heroin. So
and nobody,
what kind of crisis was that? Not health.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And so the inconsistencies, the disparities of how you treat different communities, it's now live on stage.
It's
you know,
in front of everybody
gets to see it. There's a national conversation about it in the communities that are having.
It's not a secret anymore.
It's not a secret. And so, and guess what? We, as members of those communities, aren't saying, well, we're mad about it, and we're saying,
fix it.
It happened. Now let's fix it. And guess what? We don't even want you to fix it. We want you to give us opportunities and resources so we can fix it ourselves.
Right. And that's what people need to understand. But that's what this is. Not looking for a handout.
Not at all.
No.
I don't even want
a level playing field.
Exactly.
That's all we've ever needed. And it's
exactly.
Yeah. And that's what this country was supposed to be founded on. And hopefully we can get back to that. And I'm really glad the conversations are happening even on Capitol Hill, not only in Hartford, but also in Washington.
Absolutely.
And these things, you know, you can call the people who are speaking out, oh, they're troublemakers or whatever. No, they're not trouble. They're disruptors. And disruptors are the people who always make change. I could say you and I are disruptors in our own little area, but those are the people who make change, you know, and it's time for some disruption.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was a disruption. Now we need a disruption on the other side.
And you know, not for nothing, I was thinking about this the other day. I think Donald Trump kind of helped embolden me. Yeah. He can say whatever he want.
Why can't
I? Lying,
you know, I think
or
that,
that
is the double-edged sword,
you know,
thing.
So I could say what I want because I'm telling the truth. I'm trying to help people, so I'm gonna say whatever the heck I want.
I think you're right. I think
you know, if I could thank you for anything, Donald Trump,
emboldened a lot of people, not just you.
Yeah. So I mean, and on the negative side, of course, we've got on both sides, but I think this is an opportunity that he reminded us that we get to say whatever we feel.
Yeah.
You
exactly
know,
right.
I mean, we got to be careful with that platform. We have to be careful, you know, what we say on this mic.
Well, a lot of us have more class than him, so we do that.
and we're more responsible. Right. You know, we understand why we're in this, but
we could go crazy here. We could be talking all kinds of mad trash. Or, legislators are talking trash about what they wear and
but no, like we're very respectful, like but it's at the point where you just can't dismiss us.
Right.
That's how I feel. I feel like at this point it's like disrespectful.
It's rising up. It happens. It happens. It is history. It happens, and you can't stop it now. And you have to ride with it and stop fighting against it. And this is where the problem comes in: is when the people who are fighting against it. Society is changing. The world is changing. People are changing. Technology, social media, whatever you want to call it. And the government and the people in charge need to realize that, and they need to realize that the old way of doing business as usual will no longer, not only doesn't work, but will no longer be accepted. And if they want to avoid, I hate to use the R word, but you never know, a revolution. Oh, you never know.
I mean, I don't know. I've been feeling antsy.
Right. They want to avoid that. They should ought to just, you know, really, because they already had the problem here in the 60s. They don't want it again. Really, and it's 50 years ago, and that's about the cycle.
Right.
So if they don't watch it, they could have the 60s all over again.
Right, because this is not really what, I mean, especially in cannabis.
Right.
We lovers. We not
Get
fighters.
it legal and you won't have problems.
Yeah, we don't want
more people smoke it, the chiller it is.
Yeah, like we just are trying to make sure that things are done right and in order, and we're not trying to fight. And again, I say this all the time, like we're not even trying to keep corporate completely out of it. There is room for corporate.
It's a big pie.
It's a big
We
pie.
want our piece. They can have their piece. But the problem with corporate is they want the whole damn pie.
Yeah, and I don't understand why y'all never learn how to share.
I know.
Like,
Tell
you
me
gotta
about it.
share.
All right, so let's go over the events real quick. Of course, we mentioned this Friday, the Equity and Marijuana Policy, LOB, Room 2A,
It's
1 p.m.
open to the public, and
Show
we
up.
need you there because legislators are going to be looking to see who of their constituency is supporting this.
Yeah, and you could shake hands and meet your legislator and talk to them as well.
As meeting somebody, I mean, these cannabis
advocates,
stars, advocates, nationally recognized, respected, and revered people.
Yeah.
Like Shalene Title and Chanel Lindsay and Shanita Penny, and
they're big.
Yeah, huge.
They help make it happen in mass. So they're coming down and spending their time to help us make it happen in Connecticut. Let's support them.
Exactly. Take advantage of that opportunity.
Then on the 19th, you also have a forum with Senator McCrory in Hartford, right? Now, what time does that start and where is it?
That is at the West Indian Social Club.
Okay.
I don't know the address.
Like 6?
And that's at 6. Yep.
6 o'clock. Okay, so West Indian Social Club on the 19th. That's another forum on equity. We have 1 minute left. The normal meeting is at the Rough Draft on the 20th. That starts at 7 o'clock. And then Kebra, on the 30th, you have another thing at Southern Connecticut. It starts at 1 o'clock. What is that a little bit?
It's a forum about cannabis legalization and business opportunities by the Southern Connecticut Urban League of Youth. I don't know. Southern Connecticut Urban League. Yes.
Right.
Young people.
So these are good opportunities to go out there, get educated, but also press the flesh and speak to people about your support for cannabis. Also, Canna Health is open when this week? Saturday of this week.
10 to 2, both on sites. And if anyone is from the Hartford area and they're a business owner or a resident of Hartford and they want to be on, Hartford City Council has put together a cannabis equity work group. They're looking for, or we're looking for volunteers. So there's a form that you can link on my Facebook page.
Okay, very good. So check out Kebra's Facebook page.
Urban League of Southern Connecticut. It was over there.
There it is.
Young professionals. I was going to get
That's
it right.
who's going to be at Southern on the 30th at 1 o'clock. Okay. And big news, Canna Health opening up in Milford.
Yes.
And also Go-Go Joe's opening up in Milford for everybody. That'll be March 20th.
Yeah, if you want to be a part of getting certified that day, you better make your appointments because we're already filling up.
It's filling up. So, all right, guys. We'll see y'all next week with Jason Ortiz, and we're going to get into the MCBA bill there.
Joe, you never dance.
Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I'm in Cali every week. I go hard. Rowan said he got sour, need that whole yard. I'm chasing turkey bag. You chasing gold yard. Tell us down we won't go far. Blue sherbet stuff the whole jar. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run into Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, nigga, it ain't tragic. From the home of lay down, smoking ratchets. Never win when you spell it backwards. I got green in the bay, my whole team Packers. Hold the plug, I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Gucci slides with the G's while I'm selling P's. Walking proof, money growing trees. Hit the plug, he gon' fly the geese. 100 P's, we supply the streets. Gelato cookies and that blue cheese. Yeah, bitch, woman, she got blue knees. Call her Arizona, she got a few C's. When I'm in California, plug like what you need. Pounds, pounds, pound, pound, pound. Put the work on the table, my niggas break it down. Moving that work since Hazel's round. Ask anybody, my niggas run the town.